Hello students, in continuation with the previous lecture, today we are going to discuss about the variation of coefficient of friction and the effect of different environmental conditions and operating conditions on the coefficient of friction. So for that we have took some experimental observations from literature, and if you look at the graph, we can see that the coefficient of static friction and kinetic friction both increases with increase of lubricant thickness, but the increase of static friction is more stepped as in comparison to the kinetic friction. So there is a more increment of static friction than kinetic friction. Similarly, if we talk about the effect of normal load on coefficient of friction for three different metal and alloy pairs, we can see for steel sliding on aluminum in air, the coefficient of friction will almost remain constant with increase of normal load. For copper on copper, you see initially the coefficient of friction is lower, but it suddenly it will increase, and it will show a trend of increment to some limit of normal load, and then it will again come to um, constant values. If we talk about the stainless steel on nickel aluminum alloy, the initially the coefficient of friction is high with lower normal load, but as we go on increasing the normal load, the coefficient of friction shows the uh, the trend of uh, uh, decreasing, or it will decrease from initial values as the normal load increases. For another examples of diamond, silicon oxide and silicon, we can see the coefficient of friction for diamond will always showing a constant trend. It will be almost same for all values of normal load. Whereas for silicon oxide and silicon dioxide, it will show a trend of increment after some certain amount of normal load. If we talk about the apparent area and its effect for a wooden slider on a steel surface, we can see the coefficient of friction always will show a trend of almost constant values, or it will not deviate much with the apparent area of contact. If we take the sliding velocity effect, we can see that if we take example of titanium versus titanium, the coefficient of friction decreases with some amount from initial lower sliding velocity to sliding velocity at a higher rate, that is mm second. So it will show a negative trend, or it will decrease with increase in sliding velocity. For bismuth on bismuth and copper on copper, the bismuth decrement of coefficient of friction in lower regime of coefficient of friction and sliding velocity, while the decrement in copper versus copper is in higher regime, but both will show the decreased trend, or the initial higher values of coefficient of friction decreases with increase in sliding velocity, and then they will reaches to almost minimum as we go on increasing the sliding velocity. Now, if we talk about the friction of materials, different material shows different frictional properties. When we talk about the material pairs, and their surface preparation and operating conditions. So, if we talk about friction of metals and alloys, metal shows higher adhesion, and that's why high friction and wear, whereas the alloys shows lower coefficient of friction. The soft and ductile metals such as lead and tin show high coefficient of friction because they have large area of contact. Lead-based alloys, lead-based white metals such as barytes, brass and bronze, grey cast iron exhibit low friction. Hexagonal and non-hexagonal metals such as cobalt, magnesium, molybdenum, chromium exhibits low friction, and that's why this cobalt, molybdenum and chromium are common alloying elements in steel to reduce friction, wear and corrosion. Now, if we talk about the binary alloys of cobalt and chromium with more than 10% chromium exhibits excellent resistance to oxidation and corrosion. And If we talk about titanium and molybdenum, if we add titanium and molybdenum in this they are added to increase the strength and improve the friction and wear properties. So titanium and molybdenum increase the or improve the friction and wear properties. Now if we talk about the effect of operating conditions, so initially when the contact starts or when the contacts are in elastic contacts and there is some offside effect, the coefficient of friction is in stage 1 is lower, but as soon as it shifts from stage 1 to stage 2, the coefficient of friction increases and it will reach to the maximum value and it will remain constant for some time in stage 2. Then before entering into stage 3, it will decrease and then it will remain constant in the stage 3. The first is the elastic stage, second is deformation or flowing stage, and third is roughing and debris effect. So as we go on increasing the normal load or contact pressure, the coefficient of friction shows um, a different trend with different operating conditions. Initially it is lower, then it will become reached at a higher value, and then it will again shows the lower values depend on the normal load or contact pressure. Now as far as friction of ceramics are concerned, because ceramics are used for extreme environmental applications such as high load, speed, temperature and corrosive environment, and the mechanical behavior of ceramics is differ from that of metals and alloys because of interatomic forces, because they are having covalent and ionic bonding in ceramic compared to that of metallic bonding in metals and alloys, and due to the lower a real area of contact results in relative low values of coefficient of friction comparable to the metallic couples. So ceramic shows lower coefficient of friction as compared to the metallic counterpart. You can see the coefficient of friction as a function of fracture toughness for sharp diamond pin on disc made of silicon carbide. So you can see the coefficient of friction decreases. Initially it is very high, but as you go on increasing the fracture toughness is amount of energy consumed for fracturing any surface or material if it is under certain amount so certain type of crack or some fault has been initiated on that particular surface. So fracture surface decreases as soon as the fault has been initiated on the surface of the this silicon carbide. So coefficient of friction decreases with fracture toughness. Similarly, the coefficient of friction for a normal load, if we talk about for ceramics, it will show an increasing trend with load. So the diamond and titanium nitride, which are commonly used in tribological applications, this material exhibits high friction when sliding against each other. Now, the coefficient of friction of diamond is around 0.05 to 1 in air and 0.1 to 0.2 for titanium nitride. So, these are the typical values for coefficient of friction of diamond and titanium nitride. Now, as far as friction of polymers are concerned, polymers includes plastics and elastomers. The commonly used plastics are acetal and PTFE, that is polytetrafluoroethylene. And common types of elastomers includes rubber, synthetic rubbers, and silicon rubbers. The coefficient of friction of polymer used for tribological applications, sliding against themselves or against metals or ceramics, ranges from 0.15 to zero point 0.6. So, except for PTFE, that this shows a very low coefficient of friction, about 0.05. So, the typical range of coefficient of friction for polymers is 0.15 to zero point 0.6. And this graph shows the variation of coefficient of friction with normal load for polymers. For polymers under load, asperity um, asperity deformation is generally large, leading to one giant asperity contact, which results in decrease of coefficient of friction with increase in load. So the asperities grow larger in sizes, and that's why there is a decrease in coefficient of friction. And you can calculate the coefficient of friction for polymer using this tau 0 upon PR plus alpha. So this also means that mu decreases with an increase in normal load. So for polymers, you have to remember that coefficient of friction decreases with increase of normal load. Now they exhibits low friction, and polymers are often used unlubricated in tribological applications. Polymers are very compliant as compared to metals or ceramics, with elastic modulus value typically 1/10 of even less. So they are compliant with the system. The strength of polymer is much lower, therefore they are often used in sliding applications against hard matting surfaces. So these are the qualities of the polymer, and that's why they are used as as a material in tribological pairs or tribological applications. So that's all for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll discuss about another important tribological property in design, that is wear. Thank you, students.